Hi everybody, back again with another video. I just want to say I appreciate everybody who watched the last two videos I put out. As I mentioned before, I'm going to start trying to do more videos on my YouTube going forward, so I just appreciate you guys watching. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Khamzat Chimaev. He's been a little while since we last saw him in the octagon, and you know, he's been barking a little bit at Robert Whittaker lately that he wants to fight with him. So I'm just going to go over whether I think that's a good idea for him or a bad idea. So Khamzat came to the UFC during the pandemic when they were doing a lot of fights on Fight Island. He showed up, he made a splash, he decided to jump back in again like a week later or 10 days later, and then again a month after that. So he had 3 fights straight off the bat, bam, 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 all wins. Chimaev has had one of the biggest rises in the UFC that we've seen in like a long time. He's one of the biggest stars now. He is fighting in 2 different weight divisions, or at least he wants to. And he is pretty close to a title shot in either one. You know, he was fighting at welterweight. He did have a fight at middleweight. He had a fight at a catchweight. And he is, you know, he fits the bill for, you know, the talk, and he backs it up with his fists and his kicks and his submissions. But what is next for him? He's kind of been in that limbo area now where he's risen up the rankings so much that he deserves a title shot next, but also he kind of doesn't. So what should be next? Both champions at welterweight and middleweight both have fights booked already. Leon Edwards is fighting Kamaru Usman again, and Alex Pereira is fighting Israel Adesanya again. So if Chimaev wanted to, he could wait for one of those guys to be free, and he possibly might get that fight without even fighting again. You know, his last fight, he was supposed to be fighting Nate Diaz, which in itself probably wouldn't have granted him a title shot, but a win would have either way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, beating Nate Diaz at the end of his career basically is not like the biggest feat in the UFC, but you know, he got the win. Instead, he fought Kevin Holland at a catchweight, so then he kind of put himself in title contention in 2 different divisions by doing so. Also, he missed weight for that fight, and it kind of made him like the bad guy. So that was kind of like an unexpected heel turn. He was never like this, you know, sweet guy, you know. He always did a little trash talking, but that was kind of like took it to another level where he's like, now he's embracing, I'm the bad guy. And he even called out Robert Whittaker, one of the nicest guys in the division, saying, hey, how about good guy versus bad guy? Now, that's a good fight to get a title shot. If you beat Robert Whittaker, a former champion, you leapfrog him for a title shot. All I'm saying is that he may not need that. If we look at like TJ Dillashaw, when he came back from suspension, he had one fight. He beat Corey Sandhagen. He then waited, and he just got a title shot. He didn't have to fight again because of his, you know, his pedigree and his being a former champion and everything like that. I think he did have an injury that he was dealing with, but like I'm saying, he just waited and he got a title shot. That sometimes happens now with the UFC. If you're a big enough star, you don't really need to fight as often to get a title shot. And that's kind of where Chimaev is right now. He could fight Robert Whittaker, beat him, and put himself right in line for a title shot. Or he could not fight at all, wait it out. If Adesanya wins, Chimaev might get the shot automatically. Robert Whittaker is probably not going to fight Israel Adesanya again, you know, unless he fights somebody else and earns the title shot. But they fought each other, you know, already. Why not give it to someone else? In welterweight, if Usman wins, possibly he could jump his way into that title fight as well. Or if Leon Edwards wins. If Leon Edwards wins and Jorge Masvidal wins his next fight, then they might want to match those 2 up together because they have some history. This is what I'm saying. Like, he could just possibly wait and not fight again and get a title shot. Or he could fight somebody like Robert Whittaker and get a title shot if he wins. It's the risk you take, though. If you fight Robert Whittaker and you lose, then what? Then he still has the welterweight division to fall back on. But the title shot for the middleweight division is probably out of the question. And piggybacking off of that, I think that he is a very dangerous opponent for Alex Pereira if he were to beat Israel Adesanya again. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think should be next for him. Put them in the comments if you want, or hit me up on Twitter. It's at NickBoss, NIKBOS. And yeah, I appreciate your watching this channel. Subscribe if you're not already, please. And yeah, tell me if you like these kinds of videos. All right, take care.